Hey guys! So today's video, I'm going to share with you an auto clip. Sorry. I'm going to share with you an auto clip that I had with my therapist about sharing with her my experience on how it was for my first time going to the gun range with my boyfriend. I originally wanted to write about it on my blog, but it actually ended up coming up on therapy, and I actually recorded the session that day. I didn't think I was going to talk about it that day. So I just thought to myself, instead of writing about it, since I already have it recorded, might as well just share it with you guys. So here is the auto clip of my therapy session talking about the experience that I had while at the gun range. And I get like this feeling of like, okay, maybe I should know how to do the whole gun thing, like if that was to come to that point. So I've prolonged it just because I haven't seen the time, but I mean, it kind of just without a thought, like it was kind of like an impulsive thing, like with us trying to, you know, our free time and trying to figure out like what to do. He kind of just like, well, let's go to the gun range. I didn't put any thought behind it. I didn't. All the other times I put a thought, like, no, I'm not ready, or no, I'm not, whatever. This time I didn't put a thought. I was just kind of like I just saw it as like an activity to do, since that's what we were like thinking of what to do. Sure. So I was just kind of like, oh, okay, like, yeah, let's go. So again, like, on our way, on the traffic, as we're signing up, like, I'm not really thinking of what I'm signing up for until like I actually start seeing like so much surveillance, like until I start seeing like all the cameras, until I start seeing, here's your eye protective, there was like two other people that were already there that were already like, shooting, and the sound of that instantly made me cry. Like, I still get like the whole event, like after, I literally felt like I was in like an intense therapy session. Like, it was just so much emotions involved. Like, I didn't like yes, that there's high and low points to the situation, but the overall experience felt exhausting. Like, I got home and I was exhausted because of all the emotions that I like just ran through like during that like small little what I think was like an hour or two. So I did not like expect that. I did not expect the like rush of just I don't even know, like I haven't even distinguished fully, but like just like that fear of like that sound. And like when I was telling him, which is why I said like I somewhat vented, was I think what really hit home at that moment and what made me get so sentimental is because for like comparing to him, like that's not a career I chose. I'm not, I didn't choose to be a police officer. I didn't choose to go to the army. I didn't choose to be exposed to these sounds. These sounds are not your everyday sound. So all I could think of is those people that have been in my shoes that, aren't in that career field or aren't used to that sound, and because of like a sad or a fortunate situation, they're forced to hear that. So that's literally like what kind of went through me, and I'm just like, oh my god, like I'm thinking like in the eyes of a victim, like that you're forced to hear this sound because of a detrimental thing, So I just thought like that must suck. Like, this sucks. Like, to hear this when you're not ready, like that's just heart wrenching. So I just kind of, like every single shot I would hear, it was literally like just like my eyes would blink. Like, I couldn't stop the jolt, like the movement of my body. Like, I would try to like be okay with the sound and ground myself, and I couldn't. Like, every single shot was just like my body will just jilt to it. So I was ready. Like, part of me was ready to just say forget it. Like, let's not engage in this. Like, I didn't think I was gonna like get all this feelings. But the other part of me was just very like, well, we're already here. It's already paid for. Like, you are in a safe place. Like, like, even though these feelings are going on, like, the circumstances that you're in you're in a safe place. Like, you're you're in a gun range where everybody's practicing, you know, safety. Like, there is a surveillance person there making sure that you are doing, like, everything in a safe way. So I was just kind of I took, like, a moment to myself. I think him being so supportive also helped. He was very patient of the situation. So I think I took, like, a moment to myself to just gather myself and because that too, like, he didn't notice it at first that I was trying to avoid it. I felt myself avoiding the tears and avoiding what I was feeling. And he didn't notice it, and obviously I was avoiding it, so he just starts, like, rambling about, like, oh, okay, well, here's where you put the bullets, and blah, 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 and that's when I realized, like, no, I can't pay attention. Like, I'm too overwhelmed to even listen to how you're saying, and if I'm going to sit here and pretend that I'm hearing you, then I'm possibly going to do something wrong, so let me take this moment. So that's honestly what triggered that process of, like, you really need to, like, sit for a second and breathe and just realize where you're at. That's what triggered that. Once I did that, then I was like, okay, like, I think with that moment, I was able to, like, diffuse a little. So that's where I'm saying, like, it was, like, a high and a low. Like, I was able to be lowered down again with my intensity. Then he starts explaining again. I'm like, now I'm listening a little better. I'm still, like, nerve-wracked because I'm still hearing the sounds. But I am understanding what he's saying, and then he tells me, and, you know, he's like, okay, hold it this way, hold it that, you know, hold it this way, you want your finger here, you want, like, everything was just so calculated, you know, and then, like, again, like, I took time to, like, really process, like, what he was telling me, and then it came time to, like, okay, whenever you're ready, take your shot. So then that was also hard, because it's like, I'm supposed to do this, like, so, again, like, I kept, he wanted my index to be against the gun, to think of my shot, to really, like, focus and look at the target and blah, blah, blah. Once I feel confident enough to take the shot, that's when I put the finger on the trigger. If I'm not ready, keep it to the side. So I kept realizing that I would do that, I would focus, I would feel as if I'm ready, and then I would go back. Like, there was always that hesitation. And it took me, like, I don't know, I feel like it took me, like, a good minute. It might have been, like, a few seconds, but I had that, like, how's it gonna, I don't know. And I finally did it, and that also was, like, another rush. You know, to actually pull it, to actually feel how the reaction of the gun, you know, it pushes you back. That too, I never felt that before. I didn't expect that. Like, I've always heard, like, shotguns or other type of, like, bigger ones are the ones that do a stronger kickback.
Even a handgun pull.
But even
on a pullback.
Yeah. Not super hard, but yeah, you could still feel like it's not just holding it and it goes perfectly. Mm-hmm. So that was, like, another, like, I wasn't ready to feel that, you know? So that was another moment of, like, defusing, coming back to it, and getting back into it. So yeah, it was, again, at the end of it, I did build more confidence. I was, you know, by the end of it, I was doing more rounds. I mean, according to him, and I think so. My aim was pretty good. So it was a positive experience, but it was just a very overload emotion experience. Like,
it sounds like emotions that you weren't expecting.
Yeah. So literally, like, when I left, like, yes, I was happy because, you know, I did it and I did good. You know, it was being my first time. But yeah, I was exhausted. Like, I literally felt like we were here and we just, like, went through something crazy. Like, it was a lot. So I was not ready for that. I was not ready at all for that emotional intensity. And then, you know, like, the aftermath of it.
You mentioned that you think some of the emotional intensity came from picturing the victims that didn't expect to ever have to know what a gun sounded like. Why is it that you think you identified so strongly with the victims in that moment? Why did other people there contribute to you picturing victims or experiencing?
Well, in the sense of, like, because I wasn't aware that there was other people there and that they were already shooting, I wasn't ready to hear the shots yet. I was expecting my shots to be the first ones to hear.
I see.
So by just simply entering and already hearing it, it caught me off guard.
Okay.
Which I feel like in a way it put me into that victim's role of like, whoa, I wasn't ready. Where's this coming from? And I feel like that is with some relation to what a victim goes through, whatever it is, like they're going about their daily day and then randomly they'll just hear something. So I feel like that's kind of where like that middle ground standed from, and yeah, after it being repeated, because we didn't even settle in when I already heard like 5. We were literally just walking in the door and I already was hearing it. So yeah, so I think like that is kind of where my mind just switched to.
Tell me about another time where you felt like a victim.
What's that?
In whatever sense makes the most sense for you.
After some time, I was able to build my confidence and I felt comfortable taking pictures. So you guys can check those out now. This picture was taken probably when I was shooting my 3rd round. I was getting a lot more comfortable and confident, so I was in the zone in this pic. Here's a close-up and kind of like a side angle of just me shooting. I forgot how far the target was, but it was pretty far for when I first started. And my overall. I was actually pretty proud that I stayed between, like the body part that I was supposed to stay in. I don't know what the hell is that called, but yeah. I did pretty good for my first time, and at this point I felt pretty proud and comfortable. I don't know if I'm going to go back. I think I might, just to continue building up more confidence and just to be more aware of what exactly I'm doing. I don't know if I articulated myself the best. When I'm at therapy, my mind is always scrambling with different thoughts and feelings and just the experience that I'm trying to explain. So I may not have explained it the best way. I'm sorry if it was a little confusing, but that was my experience. And yeah, as you can see, she likes to challenge me all the time. I didn't go into that because I started talking about other personal things that I may not necessarily be ready to share with you guys just yet. Maybe later down in the future, I will be more open to more of my past. Until then, that was that, and see you guys later.